Well, it's officially spooky season, and with a new Silent Hill installment having recently blundered unwittingly into the fog-shrouded nightmare realm of popular discourse, I've got the franchise on my mind. Specifically, I thought I should write down some thoughts about Silent Hill 1. You may have heard that after not completely shitting the bloodstained hospital bed remaking Silent Hill 2, Bloober Team have moved on to a Silent Hill 1 remake, which in a logical world they would have started with, but I think we all know we left the logical world behind a long time ago. It's not just numerical consistency that means starting with 1 would have made more sense. I believe I said in my review of the SH2 make that Silent Hill 1 is the game that would actually benefit from being remade for much the same reason I was behind the Resident Evil 2 remake, but not the Resident Evil 4 remake. It's because in these cases the originals were janky 32-bit PS1 games, and their gameplay narrative and overall intention were held back by the technical limitations of the day. That said, this also means Bloober Team are going to have to do a hell of a lot more work when they can't just more or less copy what Silent Hill 2 did, so there's all the more chance of them fucking it up, which is always fun. I feel like I don't talk about Silent Hill 1 much. I haven't retro-reviewed it, probably because it is pretty enormously overshadowed by its immediate sequel being, oh not much, just the best psychological horror game ever made. Silent Hill 2's plot being completely disconnected from that of the original means Silent Hill 1 doesn't retrospectively benefit much from establishing the legacy. You don't need to play it to get caught up. Silent Hill 3 is the only game in the franchise that directly follows on from the plot of Silent Hill 1, and I've long held that game to be overrated, but that's a video essay for another Halloween. We shouldn't dismiss Silent Hill 1. Obviously the tech has aged badly as only first generation 3D can. The plot's full of B-movie cheese, the writing and voice acting is awkward and cringy, and not in that semi-intentional way of Silent Hill 2, but it did establish a lot of the important iconography of the franchise: the fog, the dilapidated town, the radio, the creepy flesh monsters, the exploring of the semi-open world giving way to enclosed dungeons full of puzzles and poorly signposted fire exits. Hell, the opening sequence is classic. Go down foggy alleyway, turn a corner, abandoned wheelchair, turn another corner, bloodstained gurney, one last turn, rusty nightmare world, bloody corpse killed by monsters. That is more or less a visualized bullet-pointed list of Silent Hill as a concept. Well, it was, as Silent Hill F establishes, and indeed Silent Hill the short message. Yeah, I know you forgot about that. Calling a horror game Silent Hill now doesn't mean much, except that there'll probably be fog in it. And as I keep saying, I've stopped caring. By all means, slap established IPs onto completely unrelated games if you must. Who gives a shit, as long as the games are good? Maybe there were only ever a couple of good games to be extracted from the original idea of what Silent Hill was. I've come to terms with that. Nevertheless, I remain intrigued by the concept of a Silent Hill 1 make, and would like to note down some speculations and predictions for the benefit of future I Told You Soing. Before we do that though, I should head the know-it-all twats off at the pass and acknowledge that this isn't the first time Silent Hill 1 has been remade, because Silent Hill Shattered Memories is a thing. That was very much more in the realms of reimagining though. It only took the opening premise of dude loses daughter in haunted town and then went off on entirely its own direction. It was interesting and experimental, even if its big ideas for psychological gameplay didn't quite pay off. Let's face it, Bloober's Silent Hill 1 remake isn't going to be remotely as risky as that. It's going to be a nice straight same but with HD graphics affair, because that's what makes the money. So I feel confident in saying that the SH1 remake will be another bloody third-person over-the-shoulder Resident Evil 4 glued-to-the-bum chase camera situation, because that's what literally every remaster of every classic survival horror game is now, not to mention every survival horror game generally. And right off the bat I can see how that will fuck with the vibes of the original. The streets of the town in SH1 were packed with highly mobile aggressive enemies, and the quintessential gameplay moment was hearing the static on your radio and looking around in a panic, not knowing where it was coming from, when suddenly one of those pterodactyl fucks screams in out of nowhere and knees you in the balls. That won't happen with an over-the-shoulder camera, because it means you can just, look at things. But the real challenge for the remake will be the story, and adapting the personality of the protagonist, Harry Mason, to the expected standard, which is to say, giving him one. Harry Mason was a classic non-entity protagonist, just a bland, short, dark-haired dude with a universally understandable two-word motive: save daughter, wandering around expressing confusion at everything, which might have been appropriate because the game was about the town, not the characters in it. Harry's job was to be Alice in Wonderland, a blank audience stand-in to look at all the weird shit around him and say things like, "My goodness gracious me." Come to think of it, that's partly why Silent Hill 2 had the impact it had, because everyone was expecting a similar arrangement, that James would be a non-entity, play a surrogate, who'd never do anything as interesting as, very insistently press his wife for an opinion on the new bed linen he'd picked out. But the world of Silent Hill is now too familiar and well established established for the remake of Silent Hill 1 to fall back upon introducing it as a crutch. It's all been pretty thoroughly codified. Speaking of which, the remake's also going to have to retroactively change some things to better reflect how the series later evolved. See, the town in Silent Hill 1 was fairly non-specifically haunted. It was Silent Hill 2 that introduced the core concept of the town being a purgatory that reflects the darkness in your own subconscious, crafting metaphorical monsters following the prevailing themes within. That was a standard facet of every Silent Hill game that followed, but in Silent Hill 1, it's not really there. The monsters in Silent Hill 1 are pretty random, most not particularly representative of anything. There's zombie dogs and zombie pterodactyls, which some parties tried to explain after the fact as representing how Alessa, the girl at the heart of the narrative, was scared of dogs and, dinosaurs, which wasn't relevant to anything else in the plot. And also there's a giant butterfly boss because Alessa collected butterflies. Hang on, that's inconsistent. Are the monsters things Alessa was afraid of, or things that she liked? And where do the green lizards in the sewers come into this? The zombie nurse and doctor enemies are clearly being controlled by parasites. What's that all about? Are the parasites representative of Alessa's tendency to be clingy with people? But all the clever visual metaphors in the world can't do much about the aforementioned B-movie cheesiness of the plot. Silent Hill 1's plot hinges upon the existence of an evil cult secretly running the town that wants to summon a demon god to destroy the world, and I always think that plot device is inherently silly and messes with the verisimilitude. It raises so many further questions and relies on too many implied off-screen additional characters. How'd this cult get started? Why does it have so much influence? Typically, cults gain members and power by promising easy solutions and a better life, not world destroyed by demon god. Yes, they frame it more as God creating paradise, but are you telling me none of the rank-and-file members of the cult have looked at all the blood-smeared, twisted flesh monsters they worship and gone, hang on, how much of a paradise could it possibly be if I have to spend eternity smelling this dude? Yes, I know Silent Hill 3 addresses this. Shut up, I'm on a rant. And this cult has rich, influential members. Why the fuck would a doomsday cult attract people with actual investment in the world as it currently exists? In contrast, Silent Hill 2's plot works really well because there's only like 4 characters in it, and a straightforward explanation. Where'd all this horror come from? From your subconscious, matey boy. Thank you, no further questions. Anyway, those are all the thoughts I felt the need to get down. My overall point is that Silent Hill 1, while a good game, was only good by the standards of its time, and adapting it to modern sensibilities is going to take a lot more work and rejiggering than did its sequel. Perhaps on reflection it was wise of Bloober Team to start with Silent Hill 2. I just have this sense of foreboding about the eventual result, as Bloober Team are going to have to put in a lot of original thinking, and Bloober Team, with free reign to express their own ideas, has historically not ended well. It's like giving a gun to a chimp, and in the case of The Medium, abruptly cutting to end credits the moment it successfully fires it.